Superjoint. Come on, we all know it's Superjoint Ritual. Their brand new album, caught up in the gears of Application Span. Now, shortened name for whatever reason. There was a reason. I forgot the reason. Do I really care all that much about the reason? No, because I know who it is. You know who it is. Most of these people are going to know who it is. It's one of Phil Anselmo's side projects. This one's been dormant for about 12 years or so. It had a couple reunion shows a few years back that has now turned into a full-fledged reanimation of the project. It's a zombie! Somebody call, no, we're not making that joke. But anyway, Phil's had a busy year. Whether it's the Scour project that he launched and released the opening EP for earlier this summer, or, of course, what happened at Dime Bash. Now everyone thinks Phil's an asshole, and maybe Phil is an asshole. Vinnie Paul says Phil's been an asshole for a long time. Hell, let's make Phil Anselmo the Pope of assholes. That way we can call him His Assholiness. That sounds really awesome, actually. Kind of want that title for myself. So let's talk about this 11-track affair. I know, having a little bit of fun there at the beginning, but that's what this project kind of has going for it a little bit. This is 11 tracks that have a hardcore punk sort of veneer that every so often captures a little bit of groove, but mainly stays within a very destructive place. And if there's one thing that sort of transitioned this band has been this sort of element that this album feels like it was taken care of in a weekend. Like Phil Anselmo, Hank Williams III, and the rest of the members of Superjoint just got bored, got kind of drunk, and decided, fuck it. Let's make an album. Let's do this. This is something that needs to be done. There's a lot of pent-up animosity perhaps going through the skulls of these folks, and they needed to release it, and they just picked up the instruments. There you go. That's how this feels. It has a spontaneous feel to it. There is some organization whenever it comes to composition, but it's very, very limited. Most of these songs are based around two different ideas, the first of which is more prominent, as it's featured on mainly about 8 tracks on this album. They're shorter elements. They sort of span within the 2 to 3 minute range, with the longest one actually being Today and Tomorrow, that's just 3.5. And these are ones that just sort of aim with simplistic ideas, simple grooves, bass and drums thumping, to add that percussive backbone, and then Phil screeching and screaming vocals, including on Burning the Blanket, fuck SJWs, SJWs suck. Could that be a little bit of a response to what happened back in January? We're not going to look into that because, quite frankly, whether it is or not, the man does kind of have a point. This whole thing's getting a bit ridiculous. There is a song on here called Clickbait, though, which is kind of interesting, and this is the one that, one of 3 that doesn't fit that 2 to 3 minute long veneer. No, this is instead 5 minutes, 21 seconds. Second longest track on this album, behind only Receiving No Answer to the Knock, which is the finale. We'll talk about that briefly in a moment. But Clickbait is interesting considering this feels like 2 songs, or really multiple songs, kind of transitioning from one idea to the next, very similar to 4 songs from one of the earlier albums of Superjoint Ritual, where it sort of presents this different idea right there within the same song. We, of course, traditionally see this with tracks that are split and have like 3 different names. They didn't do that with this. You don't need to do that with every song like that. And what's interesting about it is I don't even know if they intended on doing this, but if they did, then okie dokie then. It feels like literally browsing through clickbait. It feels like you're going through the article and then you see something else and then you click on something else, and that is exactly what clickbait is. And there's some scathing commentary on that, and it's followed up with a track called Asshole, so maybe he's saying that about me, or maybe Phil has accepted the idea of Pope of Assholes, and, that was something that happened telepathically months ago, and he knew that I was going to say this and propose this, and he was already saying, bring it on. Whatever. Did you know that shit comes out of assholes? Did you know that, folks? Listen, I've been around for quite some time. I've actually taken a poo or 2 in my day, but did not know that. Thank you, Superjoint Ritual, for clearing that up. I meant it in a completely different way. Asshole is actually a pretty good track as well. Really, there's not much on this disc that is complaint-worthy, only because this has that spontaneous roughhouse feel of hardcore punk. It is one that is not aiming to take itself too seriously in its overall construction, and basically the best way I could describe Superjoint Ritual, or Superjoint as it's now known as, is We make a lot of noise, we sing and yell some stuff, we get drunk, we get high, we have a good time. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because this is an all-right album. It's average, you know. This isn't going to blow you away. This isn't going to be your album of the year. Even though receiving No Answer to the Knock is a pretty damn good finale. I like the fact that even within this sort of fun environment, Superjoint has the wherewithal to put a track like this last, considering it does focus that destruction a little bit more. And it's very similar to why a band such as Down throws on the longest tracks as their finales, you know. This is why you do this, and you make it something that's a little bit different. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to break the mold. You don't have to transition styles to become a band that you're actually not in order to propel something like this. This goes back to that old school philosophy that your final track should always feature something that's a little out of the ordinary, something that has a little experimentation. There's not much here, but there's just enough. It's a good finale. Check it out. Overall, this is an album that I would say, like I said, average. Not going to blow you away, but it's a fun listen. It's something that if you are ever in a kind of, you know, shitty mood and you want something to sound, you know, how you feel, either that or something to really propel you maybe back into feeling a little bit better by getting a little angry and wanting to roughhouse a bit. This is good stuff for that. This really is. This is something that could help you out. I don't know, it's just like an 80 out of 100. And that's alright, you know, that's the thing. With some bands, that would be a huge disappointment. Using my scale, with some groups, that would be, wow, what a really bad album that must have been, considering there's 100, you know, numbers in 100, but I use like 40 of them, you know, and 30 of them mainly. But this is a disc where that's what you want, that's what you expect. You would actually be more appalled if this was an album that was so boring that it got like a 40. So this is pretty good, and it's surprising that 12 years of pent-up animosity that can still be released among guys that have been in a trillion projects ever since the last Superjoint Ritual release. I don't know what you guys think about Caught Up in the Years of Application. Just really hard to say, apparently, even though Phil's able to seamlessly and flawlessly sing it. Let me know in the comments below. My name is coverkillernation. I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video in honor of the destruction of Superjoint. If you want to check out 5 reasons why bands are hated, scope out the playlist to your left. Playlist to your right, check out the discography review that was done for Pantera a couple years back. I think you really like it. And also subscribe and check out the Patreon of Cover Killer Nation. Thanks for watching and have a great day.